First off, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory unto our Father Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai. That's our Savior, right? And we back another Sabbath to serve the Most High again, to give us another chance to keep the commandments. All praise. You dig what I'm saying? And I want to start off, right? I want to start off by talking about the public lynching they doing of the brothers that's coming out and saying they Israelites, the little celebrities. Now, true enough, they ain't got the breakdowns that we got, but they sending the people, they bringing the truth. And them people that come into the truth, they gonna come running to us, right? And we got to be ready to teach them. But they they just doing what the Most High using them to do. But with that being said, what's happening right now is a public lynching. It's a saying a black man can die twice, right? You can physically die, and then you can have also a character assassination, so to speak. So they taking away all his money, every news, every news article you hear about him, every media that come out all over the TVs, right? They saying every bad thing they can say about the brothers. You dig what I'm saying? And I believe we should stand behind them, not as though they are like following the commandments or something like that, but just they what the Bible say. If what Christ say, if they ain't against us, they for us. And then also it says if you can't do nothing against the truth, you can only do it for it, right? So these brothers are bringing people into the truth. I just had a boxing page that I follow, and he just had this long post about him coming into the truth and being an Israelite, right? So it's definitely waking up a lot of people, but that doesn't take away from the public lynching at these brothers. They taking away their bank accounts, taking away their money, taking away kids, doing all this, right? And it's like the elephant, right, at the circus, right? And they got this big old animal and they controlling it with a stick, right? And that's us, right? But meanwhile, if those brothers in the NBA, they stand behind Kyrie and LeBron say, I ain't playing today. And KD say, I ain't playing. And DeRozan and Steph Curry, they say, I ain't playing, right? You gonna take his paycheck over this, right? Then the Las Vegas will go crazy, right? Like everything will just self-destruct, and they will have to be into the demands and respect these brothers, but we ain't on the same page to do nothing like that. So I just wanted to shine a light, you dig what I'm saying, on what's going on with them brothers starting off, right? And then I want to touch on something I touched last week. I got another verse to add to my breakdown. I want to touch on that before I get into the lesson for today. So boom, last week I talked about the chariots, right? So we got the chariots, and we had the fake Christ, right, get cut about the chariots. Same thing we learned about last week. The fake Christ was on Clubhouse and he got cut with the exact thing about the chariots. So we finna go through the chariots one more time, right? And then I got a verse to add to it, which is the verse he got cut on, right? So let's go to Matthew 24 and 30 real quick, right? I'm finna just go over one quick time, and then I'm finna add to the verse to the breakdown. Matthew 30. No, I'm sorry. Matthew 24 and 30. Matthew 24 and 30, and it reads, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, right? And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds from heaven with the power and great glory. So this Yahweh coming from the sky. And he shall send his angels with the great sound of the trumpet, and they shall gather together. So the angels, they on the clouds. He shall send his angels with the great trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds and from one end of the earth even to the other, right? So this Yahweh coming through the clouds. Luke 21 and 27 say the same thing, right? So let's go to Acts chapter 1. Acts chapter 1, verse 9, because this is the verse the dude got cut on, right? And it should have been in my breakdown. It wasn't last week, but it is now, right? So this Acts chapter 1, verse 9, it reads, and when he had spoken these things, and while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received them out of their sight. So this Yahushua being taken back up into heaven. And it wasn't like the X-Men and he can float, right? A cloud came down, right? The clouds go to Psalms 104 and 3. So a cloud came and received them and took them up, right? Find out what the cloud is. Again, Psalms 104 and 3. And it reads, who layeth up the beams of his chariots in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, right? Who walk up on the winds of the world. But the point in this verse is who maketh the clouds his chariots, right? 1 Thessalonians 4 and 17. The clouds or the chariots, right? That's what the angels on, right? So boom, 1 Thessalonians 4, 17. And it says, then we which are alive, this is talking about here in Babylon, we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds, right? The clouds of the chariots. That's how we're gonna go up in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord, right? Now go back to Acts chapter 1, verse 9. So the clouds of the chariots, right? We're gonna be called up into the clouds, just like in this passage, Yahushua was called up into the clouds. So Acts chapter 1, verse 9, and it reads, and it says, and when he had spoken these things, and while they beheld, because people was looking, right? He was taken up, and the cloud received him out of their sight. So a cloud came down, picked him up, and he was gone, right? And while they looked steadfast towards heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel. So as everybody looking up into heaven, looking at Yahushua go with the clouds into heaven, right, to be on the right side of the Father, everybody else looking, and two angels with white apparel appeared on the side of them. Verse 11, which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye grazing up into the heavens? They said, why you looking up into the heavens? Why are y'all men of Galilee looking up into the heavens? It says, this same Yahushua, which is taken up from you to heaven, shall come in like manner as ye have seen him going to heaven. So the Bible just said the same way he ascended is the same way he gonna descend, right? So he ain't gonna be born, he coming, he cracking the sky, right? But this is the verse the little fake Christ got cut on. So I want to put that in my breakdown. I'm going to read it one more time. It's Acts chapter 1, verse 9. And it says, and when he had spoken these things, and when they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly towards heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushua, this same Christ, which is taken up from you unto heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven, right? Boom. So that and that's a cut to the dude. He born, he ain't cracked no sky, he a fake, right? Fake, and he got caught lying on Clubhouse, right? The fake little Christ. So that was a sight to behold, right? So boom, let's get into the breakdown. I just wanted to add that to my breakdown. The same way Yahushua went into the heavens, he coming back, right? Now, let's see here. 1 second. Go to is it Isaiah 58 and 1? Isaiah 58 and 1. 20. Yeah. So this is Isaiah 28 and 1. This reads, it 58. Says cry 58 and 1. Salakia, the water. So this Isaiah 58 and 1. It says, cry loud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions and the house of Jacob their sins, right? So we ain't supposed to spur nobody feelings. We ain't supposed to be talking like a Christian or soft like they think Jesus supposed to talk, right? We're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to cry loud, spur not, lift up our voice like a trumpet. That's why you hear the brothers on the street corners screaming the scriptures, right? With authority, right? And show my people their transgressions. We gotta show our people when they wrong, right? If they eating pork, you gotta let them know that you ain't supposed to be eating pork, right? It's the Sabbath. You gotta let them know, hey, this is the Sabbath. You supposed to be keeping the Sabbath, whether they like it, forbear it, or hear it or not, right? But that's your job, right? Well, that's my job, right? And if you come across somebody that ain't doing it, that's your job, right? Isaiah, give me 1 second. Isaiah 51 and 20. Isaiah 51 and 20. And it reads, right? Verse Isaiah 51 and 20, it says, thy sons have fainted, and they lie at the heads of all the streets, right? What's the head of a street? A street corner, right? Thy sons have fainted, and they lie at the heads of all the streets, as wild as a bull in the net. Like a bull in the net, when you put a net around a bull, he start bucking, buck wild, right? So this saying, us Israelite men, we on the corner, street corners, buck wild, right? I'm going to start it over. Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the heads of all the streets, as a bull, as a wild bull in the net. They are full of the fury of the Lord and the rebuke of God, right? So therefore, hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine, right? Because we drunk off these philosophies, we drunk off the earth, right? We drunk off the white man. Well, actually, let me was this Revelations? Because I got a precept to this before I even finish. Give me 1 second. Revelations. Go to Revelations 13 and 15, right? We drunk, right? But not with wine, right? It's Revelations chapter 13 and 15. And it reads, and he had the power to give life unto the image of the beast, right? The system is the beast, right? The image of the beast is you conforming to the white man, conforming to Esau, conforming to America, right? And he had power to give life to the image of the beast. And the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many that would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. And then you see all our brothers and sisters, they conforming to white America, the way society is, right? And that's being drunk with the philosophy of this world. You ain't supposed to be, you supposed to, it says, come out of ye, my people, separate yourself. You can't lead, everybody can't lead, but we can separate ourselves from the ideology of this place, from the spirit of this place, right? So that's being drunk with wine, right? But go back, actually go to Lamentations chapter 4. Lamentations chapter 4. So that one. This Lamentations 4 and 1. It says, how is the gold become dim? That gold is us, y'all. So how is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? And the stones of the sanctuary are poured out on top of every street. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold, how are they esteemed as earthen pitchers and the work of the hands of the potter? Even the sea monsters draw out of the beast. You went sideways. The water. It says even the sea monsters draw out of the beast, and they give suck to their young ones, right? So we Israelites, right? We went from high to low. Verse 3, it says even the sea monsters draw out of the beast, out of the breast. Salakia. Even the sea monsters draw out of the breast and give their young ones, give suck to their young ones. So even wild animals, right? They care about their little kids, right? But the daughter of my people will become cruel, like an ostrich is in the wilderness. An ostrich will just lay their eggs, no protections, and let the elements and the other animals get at them, right? So they compared that to how Israelite women treat their kids, right? It's about about both the Israelite men and women, right? Verse 4. And the tongue of the sucking child cleaveth to the roof of their mouth for thirst, and the young children ask bread, and no man breaketh it for them. This us. Yeah, all us grew up like this, right? Verse 5. They that did feed delicately or desolate in the streets. So the people that do care, it ain't that many of them. And they that were brung up in the scarlet embrace dung hills. Ooh, embraces dung hills. For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughters of my people is greater than the punishment of the sins of Sodom. Right? Sodom got destroyed, right? That was overthrown as in the moment, and no hand stayed in on her. Right? Nobody can save Sodom. Right? Her Nazarenes were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk, and they were more ruddy than body than root. They were more ruddy in body than rubies, and their polishing was a sapphire. And actually, you will have white people. This is a sidebar. I'm going to get right back to the chapter. But this verse, white people use this verse to say, you know, whiter than milk, ruddy, trying to act like that red, that ruddy is them. Go to Google right quick. I need you to Google something, right? Whiter than milk, that's a parable, right? But because they're not even white, they're red. Go to Google real quick and Google ruddy cow first. Ruddy cow, Ruddy cow, right? Let's see if this looks like Caucasians. No. You spelled it correctly. Ruddy, ruddy cow. Does that look like white people, or does that look like us? That will more than likely favor us. Google a ruddy horse. Because ruddy is what it describes King David as. A ruddy horse. King David is described as ruddy, right? So this is what a ruddy horse looks like, right? This is not conducive of the Caucasian race, right? Now let's go back to the Bible. Verse 8. Their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaved to their bones. It is withered. It has become like a stick, right? Because man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out the mouth of God. So we starving if we ain't got that, right? Scroll up, verse 9. They that be slain, that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. So it said they that die by the sword, because you die by the sword, it kind of die quick, but that hunger death, that's slow and painful, right? Verse 10. The hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. They were their meat in their desolation for the daughters of my people. And this is true. It's times in the Bible where we actually ate our kids when we were blockaded, and when we were hungry, and we was under them curses and the heathens. The Most High gave us up to the heathens. It was times that when the heathens had their way with us and we went through our little famines or whatever, we ate our children, right? So that's a biblical fact. Verse 11. The Lord hath accomplished his fury. He had poured out his fierce anger, and have kindled a fire in Zion, and it had devoured the foundations thereof. The kings of the earth, can you scroll up? The kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would not have believed that the adversary and that the enemy should have entered into the gates of Jerusalem. So you got to understand, the power of Yahweh was known by the whole earth, especially when we came out of Egypt, right? Go to Romans chapter 9, verse 14. because the Most High name was known throughout the earth at one time, right? Romans 9:14, it reads, verse 17, verse 9 and verse 17, it says, for the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for the same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee. This is the Most High. He gonna show his power in him, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. Because you got to understand at that time, Egypt was like Babylon. Egypt was like the top country on the earth. Could nobody mess with it? The whole earth, everybody that was in famine had to come to Egypt to get their grains and stuff, right? Egypt was the top dog. So when the Most High brung them down, everybody like, ooh, you know, they God must be powerful. That's why Moses' wife dad said, hey, I want to follow y'all God, right? Not because he could get saved, because he knew that power, right? So boom. Now go back to Lamentations chapter 4. I believe we was like at 13, 14. Yeah, something up in there. So yeah, the kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would not believe that the adversary, so all the people on the earth that knew about Yahweh, wouldn't have believed that the adversary and the enemy should have entered the gates of Jerusalem. They like, how did it happen? Because we went off. For the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests that have shed the blood of the just are in the midst of her. They have wandered as blind men in the streets, right? Remember they at the corners, bull bucking and that. They have wandered as blind men in the streets. They have polluted themselves with blood so that men could not touch their garments. They cried unto them, depart ye. It is unclean. Depart, depart, touch not. And when they fled away and wandered, they said among the heathens, they shall no more sojourn there. And the anger of the Lord have divided them, and he will no more regard them. They respect not the persons of the priests, and they favor not the elders. They're talking about us, y'all, right? That's why the Most High scattered us. As for us, our eyes has yet failed for our vain help. So now we in these captivities. We at the bottom, right? Verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet fail for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. Us as Black people, us as Israelites, us as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we ain't even looking to the Most High to save us. We looking at other nations, right? White people, we're looking at other nations to save us, not the Most High, right? Verse 17 again, as for us, our eyes as yet fail for our vain help. Like, remember what I was saying, like the elephant with the stick, we so powerful, but yet they control us, right? And then instead of going back to the Most High and asking the Most High to save us for salvation from him, most of us, even in Christianity, because most Israelites are not practicing believing Israelites. They're looking to white people for salvation, right? In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. Verse 18, they hunt our steps, right? You got the police riding down the street on the side of the road. They hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. To our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. So they hunt our steps that we can't go in our streets. We can't even go in our own neighborhoods where only us stay, right? Because a white man patrolling it, right? They ain't got a black people patrolling that, because that's what the Crips and the Bloods and the Vice Lords and all of what is called gang banging now. All those organizations started off as community protection programs, right? And then the white man came with his divide and conquer tactics. Killed one person over here, killed one person over here, blamed it on each other, and now you got gang banging. But every one of those organizations started off as protection, because we didn't want to call police, because we called the police, they killed us. So we start protecting our own neighborhoods. If somebody breaking your house down the street, you call us. We gonna find out who did it, right? That's how those organizations started off. The Vice Lords, they started off feeding kids in the morning. That's where breakfast at schools come from. Those stores came from, and then that evolutionized into what we have is gang banging with the white man putting his hands in, right? But Verse 18 again, they hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is nearest, our days are fulfilled, our end is come. Verse 19, our persecutors are swifter than the eagle of the heaven, right? Our persecutors are swifter than the eagle. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and 49. Deuteronomy 28 and 49. Our persecutors, right? The people that's persecuting us are swifter than an eagle. It's Deuteronomy 28 and 49. And the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from the end of the earth, as swifter than an eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Go to Obadiah. It's only one chapter, so just go to Obadiah and let me look for the verse. Okay, verse 4, right? Obadiah 1 and 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, hence I will bring thee down, saith the Lord, because this is concerning Edom, right? Now let's go back to Lamentations, right? Our persecutors, I don't want to butcher the verse, Lamentations 4 and 17, and it reads, it's 19, it reads, our persecutors are swifter than an eagle of the heaven. They pursueth us upon the mountains, right? They lay wait for us in the wilderness, right? So they lay on wait. They planning on getting us, right? Finding the weak ones. You know, they like soft targets, right? Like women and children, or they like going to places where Black people ain't got guns at. Those are called soft targets. That's where a lot of white supremacists kill Black people in mass, right? You see it all over the news, but those are they pick them places wisely, right? Schools, right, etc. Verse 20, the breath of our nostrils and the anointed of the Lord was taken in their pits, of whom we said, under this shadow we shall live among the heathens, right? Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. So rejoice and be glad, and that's like mocking language, right? It's not telling them to be happy, right? It's not telling them to be happy. Verse 21, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. So the cup of wrath gonna pass through Edom now. Thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked, right? Remember, we was drunk with wine. We was drunk, but not with wine. Now they finna be drunk, but not with wine. Verse 22, the punishment of the iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. So we done accomplished our iniquity. We finished with it. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. Now, this is a cut because you got some doctrines that teach that wicked Israelites will be so you got people that don't know what salvation is, right? It's an ethnic hierarchy in the kingdom of heaven. We're gonna be on the top, all the other nations gonna be on the bottom. Well, some of these doctrines say that wicked Israelites, right? Wicked Israelites are going to be in slavery in the kingdom of heaven, but that's against the prophecy. Let's read it one more time. This is Lamentations chapter 4, verse 22. The punishment of thy iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. We ain't going into slavery no more, right? He will visit thy iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sin. So we ain't going to slavery no more. This is our last one, right? So that's a cut for that. Now I need Hebrews 11 and 13, right? Because these nations got a judgment coming. We finishing up our judgment. We wrapping it up, right? Jacob's trouble is how I get wrapped up, right? So we finna wrap up our judgment, right? But they judgment finna start. This Hebrews 11 and 13. And these all died in faith, not having received the promises. But having so you got all these people that died, right? But they didn't get to see Yahushua. They didn't get to see the things we seeing today, right? These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, right? They seen what we trying to see, because this is the time to be alive. Y'all know it's gonna go down, right? Then on top of that, right, we know the kingdom of heaven is right after that. That's what he's saying afar off, right? The kingdom of heaven. But having seen them afar off, we were persuaded of them and embraced them and confessed that they were that they were, hold on, and confess that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth, right? And the pilgrim is like a nomad, somebody that travels, right? Just basically how we are. We go from captivity to captivity, back to the land, from captivity to captivity. So even after when all hell break loose here, we're going to have to live back on the land as pilgrims, right? But let me read the verse again. These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, right? They seen the kingdom of heaven, right? Kingdom of heaven at hand, and were persuaded of them and embraced them and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims upon the earth, right? So I don't even know. Go to Revelation 6 and 15. Oh, that's the hold on. That's the image of the beast, right? Conform to the image of the beast. Don't go there. Go to Ezekiel 35 and 5, right? Ezekiel 35 and 5. That's what I need. Okay, so this is Ezekiel 35 and 5. It says, because they have had a perpetual hatred, right? This is talking about Edom, right? And Israel. Now, perpetual means the like never end, right? Like trees, right? They have a perpetual cycle where they grow the leaves. In the fall, they fall off. In the winter, they have none, right? And then in the springtime, it starts all over again. It never really ends, right? So the same people that was slave masters are the same people that put us into slavery. Well, these people that's walking around today, they have the same hatred in them for us that their forefathers had. This is Ezekiel 35 and 5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel, and by force of the sword in the time of their calamity and in the time of their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare unto thee unto blood. Right. This is the judgment for Esau, for Edom, the nation. Right. I actually well, we can get that. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord, I will prepare thee unto blood, and the blood shall pursue thee. Seeth thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. That's judgment for Esau. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate. That's the mountain they the first mountain they dwelled in, because under Israel is where the land of Edom start, is where the mountains are, and that's where they used to live, right? And then they went from them mountains to the Caucasus Mountains, which is where the word Caucasian come from. So they cavemen. Verse 7. Thus I will make Mount Seir most desolate, and I will cut off from it that passeth out of him that returneth. So ain't nobody gonna be going through it, right? And I will fill his mountains with his slain men, and thy hills, and in thy valleys, and in all the rivers, and they shall fall that are slain with the sword. And I will make thee a perpetual desolation, and thy cities shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh. Because you got to understand, with the prophecy, Edomites gonna be destroyed, like terminated. So ain't nobody gonna be in their land. It's mountains, right? So this kingdom of heaven, we're gonna have the whole earth. Ain't nobody gonna want to live in no mountains, and ain't no Edomites gonna be there to live in it, right? That's why it's gonna be a perpetual desolation. Verse 10. Because thou said these two nations. So this is the reason that they ain't gonna have nobody living in their land, because thou hast said these two nations, northern kingdom and southern kingdom, and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there, right? Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God Yahweh, I will even do according to thy anger and according to thy envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. So the same hatred that you have for them, the Most High gonna have that same hatred for them. And I will make myself known among them, and that when I have judged thee. Can you scroll up? And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies which thou hast spoken against the mountain of Israel, mountains, hills, Those are people. Actually, let me get a precept real quick to prove that. Uh, 1 second. Um, go to Ezekiel 36:1. Uh, no, I want that verse. Let me give me 1 second. Okay, I can't find. Is that it? Okay, I'm gonna just read this one. I can't find the one I really want. Okay. Can I be heard? I fell out. My bad, y'all. Okay, this is Ezekiel 36:1. Also, thy son of man, prophesies unto the mountains of Israel, and say, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord. I had another one that basically said mountains walking like man. I can't find it, but this one will suffice, right? Ezekiel 36:1. Also, thy son of man, because Ezekiel was called the son of man also. Thou son of man, prophesies unto the mountains of Israel, and say, ye mountains of Israel, hear the words of the Lord. Now, mountains don't have ears, right? That they can hear the words of the Lord. The mountains are the people, right? A small a small group of people is called a hill. A large group of people is called a mountain. We already know Israel is as the sand of the sea, right? Okay, go back to Ezekiel 35. I think we was like, oh, we already here. I'm tripping. We was at, oh, it was one chapter over. Salakia, Baba Kushan. I'm tripping. So this is Ezekiel 35 and 35 and 12. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all the blasphemies which thou hast spoken against the mountain of Israel, because that's what all the nations have done, saying, let they be laid, saying they be laid desolate, and they are given to us to consume, because that's what all the other nations think, that we are here for their benefit, for them to get steal our money and get over on us, and they can live, beautifully and talk about us on how bad we are as a people, right? That's what people think that's they honestly, a lot of people honestly think we're in heaven and this is the said all be all, and we're going to stay on the bottom and all these other nations going to be over us, right? And a lot of other nations feel that way, but not I, saith the Lord, right? So verse 13, thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me and have multiplied your words against me, and I have heard them, right? So the heathens done been talking bad and they pride, and the most I heard them. Thus saith the Lord God Yahweh, when the whole earth rejoices, I will make thee desolate. And thou didst, as thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel. So just like they rejoiced when they received us, because it was desolate, I will do, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea. Idumea is the Greek word where you say Edom, right? O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Lord. So it ain't no getting around it. He talking to all of them, every single last one of them, right? I need Hosea 13 and 16. This is Hosea chapter 13, verse 16, and it reads, and Samaria shall become desolate, right? So the land of Samaria, right? It's basically the Ephraimites king. It's part of the northern kingdom land. But when a kingdom split, and at this time of Hosea, it's Africans there. It's not Israelites, right? The northern kingdom is gone, right? You have a few there, but it's mostly Canaanites, right? So just to give you a backdrop of why it's saying this, because Samaria is the northern kingdom land, but at this time, the northern kingdom is gone and it's Canaanites there, right? So verse 16, Samaria shall become desolate, for she hath rebelled against her God. They shall fall by the sword, their infants shall be dashed into pieces, their women and children shall be ripped up, right? Go to Zechariah 1 and 15. Zechariah, not Zephaniah, Zechariah. Zechariah 1 and 15. And it says, I am very sore displeased with the heathens that are at ease. Like we said, these heathen, a lot of these heathens, and a lot of Christians too, right? That accept white supremacy. They believe that well, it's called not agnostic, what's the proper biblical scholastic word for these people? They are, well, they believe everything in the Bible is already fulfilled, right? So they believe that we are already in the kingdom of heaven, which is nonsense to us, right? Us that's living out this living in hell, right? Nonsense to us. You got your text messages up. Okay, so Zechariah 1 and 15, it says, I am very sore displeased with the heathens that are at ease. For I was but a little displeased, right? But they helped forward the affliction. So the Most High put us in their hands for us to get afflicted, but they forwarded the affliction. The Most High ain't tell them to buck break and rape men and cut women womb, cut the babies out the womb, and alligator bait and Negro skin shoes and jackets. No, that's forwarding the affliction, right? Verse 16, therefore saith the Lord, I am returned to Jerusalem with mercies. He returned to us with mercies, y'all. My house shall be built in it, saith the Lord of hosts, and a line shall be stretched forth upon Jerusalem, right? That's the Most High forgiving us and with us returning back to the Most High. Verse 17, cry yet, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, my cities through prosperity shall yet be spread abroad. And the Lord shall yet comfort Zion and shall yet choose Jerusalem, right? That goes to Isaiah 14 and 1. Most High Lord will yet choose Israel and choose Jerusalem, right? Verse 18, and when I lifted up my eyes, I saw and behold the four horns. And I said unto the angels that talk with me, what be these? And he answered to me, these be the horns which have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. And the Lord showed me four carpenters. Okay, let's get into the breakdown. Okay, I wanted 1 through 7, 15 through 17. The four horns breakdown. Actually, that goes into the so what I'm gonna do, most likely I'm gonna do, right, is the six seals breakdown in Revelations. I want to do the six seals breakdown because I believe from my teachers and my teaching and my understanding, we're in the fifth seal right now. So most likely next Sabbath, we're doing a six seals breakdown. And as I said, I believe we're in the fifth seal. We're waiting on the sixth one. All right, next verse, Jeremiah 30 and 15. This is Jeremiah 30 and 15. It says, why criest thou for thou affliction? Thou sorry, thy sorrow is incurable for the multitude of thy iniquity, because thy sins were increased. I have done these things to you, right? So therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries, right? Because we dealing with because Deuteronomy 30 say, I think it's 7 say, when the curse is lifted off of us, all the curses going up on our enemies, right? So verse 16, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, right? So everybody that spoiled us gonna be a spoil. And this ain't talking about like some spoiled milk in the refrigerator or a spoiled sandwich or macaroni that you left in there, right? No, no, no. This is a spoiled people, right? These are people being spoiled, right? So there, all they that spoil you shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. So all these people that think that they're the aggressors and we're the victims, those roles are gonna be reversed, and we're gonna be hunting them. For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, right? Saith the Lord Yahweh, because thou called thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, who no man seeketh after, right? Everybody look at us like we got doodle on our hands and face, right? This is Zion, who no man seeketh after. Verse 18, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tent, right? So they're bringing again, a turn into captivity means ending it, and have mercy upon his dwelling places, and the city shall be builded upon her own heap, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. Can you scroll up? After the manner thereof. And out of them shall proceed thanksgiving and the voice of them that make merry. And I will multiply them, and they shall be not be few, right? And I will also glorify them, and they shall be not small, right? So when we get to the kingdom of heaven, right, only the remnant gonna get in, but then you got the babies being born into the kingdom of heaven. Verse 20, their children also shall be aforetime, right? So our children gonna be like before, and their congregation shall be established before them, and I will punish all that oppress them, right? So yes, we're gonna be having children in the kingdom of heaven, those children that are born, or the Israelites that didn't make it the first time. Verse 21, and their nobles shall be of themselves, right? So now we got presidents and leaders that ain't even Israelites. Well, in this time, and actually, let me touch on that real quick. Before I get to Jeremiah 30 and 21, I got a verse, because it's actually a sin for Israelites to vote in America, right? It's a sin, an actual sin, sin for us to vote in America, right? I'm finna prove it. Give me 1 second. Deuteronomy 17 and 15. Deuteronomy 17 and 15. And it's a sin to vote in America. This Deuteronomy, and it's the law, Deuteronomy, the second law. Deuteronomy 17 and 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him a king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shall thou set a king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. One more time. Deuteronomy 17 and 15, it reads, thou shalt not in any wise set a king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose, right? Thou shalt in any wise set a king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. So the Most High gonna choose our king, right? One from among thy brethren shall thou set a king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother, right? So we can't vote for somebody to put over that's Donald Trump, right? Or Biden. That's a sin, right? Now let's go back to Jeremiah 30. We were I started at so boom. Scroll down. Verse 20, 21. Yes, verse 21, right? So it says Jeremiah 30 and 21, their nobles shall be of themselves, right? So our leaders gonna be of ourselves. and their governor shall proceed out of the midst of them. Our governor, who the government is going to be on his shoulders, that proceeds out of the midst of us, going to be Yahushua. Actually, go to Micah 4:1. Go to Micah 4:1 real quick. Micah 4:1. 5:1. So this is Micah 5:1. It says, now gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. He have laid siege against thee, and they will smite the judge of Israel with the rod upon the cheek. The judge of Israel that's going to be smitten with a rod upon the cheek is Yahushua, right? So the one that should come from the midst of us. Thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though the Bethlehem of Ephratah is a city in Israel. But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little amongst the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall come forth unto me that is a ruler of Israel. So out of Bethlehem Ephratah shall come the ruler in Israel from out of us. Go to Deuteronomy 18:17. Hold on, let me finish out verse 2. But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall come forth unto me that is to be a ruler in Israel, whose going forth have been from old, from everlasting. So this ain't just going to be a person that's just born, right? This person is from old, from everlasting. Now go to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 18:17. So ain't no nigga gonna pull up in on Malibu talking about he our Lord and Savior, right? Deuteronomy 18:17, and the Lord said unto me, Deuteronomy 18:18, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren. So he gonna become just like us, like unto thee, and I will put my words in his mouth. That's why those red letters, or what is the word? The red letters in the words of in the Old Testament, the word of God is basically perfect. It's the word of God, right? Verse 18, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee. He gonna be just like us. And I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command thee. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto the words which he shall speak in my name, I require of them. So you got to listen to him. I got one more precept. Give me a second. It said, go to Hebrews 2:17. Hebrews chapter 2, verse 17, right? Yahushua coming from the midst of us, made just like us, right? Verse 16, it says, verily, and it's a cut to the virgin birth. Verily, he took not on him the nature of angels. So he ain't made like angels. You know, angels, they ain't got mothers and fathers and kids and stuff, right? For verily he took not on him the nature of angels, but he took on him the seed of Abraham. So this word seed, actually, let's look up this word seed in this verse. Go to the blue letter, go to Hebrews 2:16, just to prove it. Like I said, it's a cut to the virgin birth. Let's look up that word seed. He didn't take on him the nature of angels, but he took on the seed of Abraham, right? Seed of Abraham. That's very important. We're in Hebrews chapter 2, verse 16. So just Hebrews, just 2:16. And we're looking up the word seed, and which is going to prove that it's not. So look up that word seed. It's G4690. You hit the wrong. Go back. There you go. It's 4690, I believe. G4690. Click on it. It's the Greek word sperma, right? We ain't got to go into it, right? Sperma, right? That's the Greek word for seed, right? Now let's go back to the verse in Hebrews 8:16. Hebrews chapter 2, verse 16, Slakia, 2 and 16. For verily he took not on him the nature of angels, but he took on him the seed of Abraham. Verse 17. Wherefore in all things it behooved him, behoove mean like it was in his best interest, right? Wherefore in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren. So he wasn't made like the angel, he was made of the seed of Abraham. It behooved him to be made like his brethren. And there's a good reason for this, y'all. If Yahushua had the whole virgin birth thing, we wouldn't have a leg to stand on. We would always have an excuse not to follow him and try to strive to be perfect and keep all the laws. Because then we have a built-in excuse. Well, he wasn't like us, right? He was like an angel. That's why he kept the laws, statutes, and commandments to the best he could, and he didn't sin, so he was perfect, and he's supposed to be an example for us, right? We supposed to walk in his steps, right? So with that being said, if he would have this miraculous virgin birth with no dad, that would be a built-in excuse for us not to follow the law, statutes, commandments. But that's why this verse exists. It's Hebrews 16, 2 and 16, one more time. For verily he took on not on him the nature of angels, but took on him the seed of Abraham. Wherefore in all things it behooved him to be made like his brethren, us, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest, right? And the things pertaining to God and make reconciliation for the sins of the people. See, when he's like when you get on judgment day, you got Yahweh, he the judge, right? You got Satan, he the accuser, and your lawyer is Yahushua. And he went through the same, he was in a flesh and blood, he was born just like us. He seen the same girls, well, I'm a dude, so, but you know what I'm saying, right? He had the same lust, he's seen the same thing. So when he gets up there and he's the advocator for you, right? You got an advocate before the Father, and he advocating for you. The whole reason he can speak on your behalf so good is because he went through what you went through, right? So verse 17, one more time. So wherefore in all things it was behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in the things pertaining to God, to make a reconciliation for the sins of the people. For in that he himself had suffered being tempted, and he is able to succor them that are tempted. Succor them that are tempted, right? They go to verse, right? Now let's go back again to Jeremiah 30. I believe it was like in verse 22 or something. Jeremiah 30, back at 21. And their nobles shall be of themselves, and their governor shall proceed out of the midst of them. And I will cause them to draw near. We're going to come close to the Most High, and he shall approach unto them. And for who is this that engages? Hold on. For who is this that engaged the heart to approach unto me, saith the Lord? And ye shall be my people, and I will be your God. Behold, the whirlwind of them. Behold, the whirlwind of the Lord goes forth with fury, a continual whirlwind, and it shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. And the fierce anger of the Lord shall not return until it have done it. Right? That goes to the thing where it says the word Lord will not come back void, right? Whatever is going to accomplish, whatever you seek to accomplish, right? So the fierce anger of the Lord shall not return until they have done it, and until it have performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days, ye shall consider it. So whatever the Most High said in this book he gonna do to these people in his anger, it's gonna happen, right? It ain't no ifs, ands, or buts, because the word Lord cannot return void. Actually, let me get a precept to this verse. Let me get that. Let me read this verse one more time, right? It says, the fierce anger of the Lord shall not return until it has done it, and until he have performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days it shall consider it, right? So it's gonna happen. Whatever he said gonna happen, gonna happen. I need Isaiah 55 and 10. Isaiah 55 and 10. And then you got people teaching that we don't need to read the Old Testament, and they start off with Paul. Actually, I'm going to deal with that right in a second. I think fix these next two verses. It's Isaiah 55:10. It says, "For as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven and returneth not thither," right? So rain and snow, they come down. You ain't never seen rain go up or snow go up, right? But watereth the earth and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So shall you went sideways. You went sideways, baby. Isaiah 55:11. So just like the water come down, water the earth, give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. Verse 11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing wherein I sent it, right? So whatever the Most High said is going to happen. It ain't no ifs, ands, buts, and maybes about it, right? Next verse, let's go to Psalms chapter 149. Start at 1. All right. Hopefully everybody, most people should know the end of this chapter, right? We're finna read the whole thing. It's only 9 verses. It's Psalm chapter 147 and verse 9. It says, "Praise ye the Lord Yahweh, and sing the Lord a new song, and his praises in the congregation of the saints," right? The saints of the Israelites, right? "Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. That made him that made us," right? Let the Israel rejoice in him that made him or made them, and let the children of Zion be joyful of their king. Let them praise his name in a dance, and let them sing the praises unto him with the tremble in the heart. For the Lord hath taken pleasure in his people, and he will beautify with the meek with salvation, right? Because the meek shall inherit the earth. Verse 5, let the saints be joyful in glory, and let them sing aloud upon their beds. So we're going to be singing a new song, right? We're going to be singing this song unto the Lord, and we're going to be on our bed singing this song. Verse 5, let the saints be joyful in glory, and let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hands, right? To execute vengeance upon the heathens and the punishment upon the people, to bind their kings with chains of iron, and their nobles to bind their kings with chains, and their nobles with feathers of iron, to execute the judgment written, right? Because his word can't come back void. This honor have all his saints, praise ye the Lord, right? So I'm gonna start over at 5 again. It says, let the saints be joyful in glory, and let them sing upon their beds. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hands, to execute vengeance upon the heathens, and a punishment upon the people, to bind their kings with chains. So this is a cut to some people saying, oh, when we get into heaven, we ain't gonna treat them like they treated us. True enough, we ain't gonna be raping them or nothing, but they going into chains, right? To bind their kings with chains, and their nobles with feathers of iron, right? That's their yoke. To execute the judgment, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all the saints, praise ye the Lord, right? So now I need Joel chapter 2, I'm gonna start at verse 7. Joel 2 and 7. Because they gotta get their payback. This ain't all about just us coming back, right? Because all these governments finna fall, right? While we've been getting built up in the spirit, and why the Most High he making his election sure, right? Because the harvest finna come, right? Y'all remember the harvest where he separates the wheat from the tares, right? The people that do the separating, they the angels, right? Well, the harvest is right. Well, we finna read it, right? We finna read it on the last page of the Bible in a second. This is Joel chapter 2, verse 7. And they shall run like mighty men, and they shall climb the wall like men of war. This is now when the Most High give the saints, right, that got that two-edged sword and all that, they're gonna be running around with the angels, some of these saints, right? Now everybody ain't gonna get this privilege, but some Israelite men gonna get this privilege, right? And they're gonna be like Goku. It's gonna be like Dragon Ball Z. Auntie, you might not know about that, but you know, you get these superpowers, so to speak, right? Joel 2 and 7. They shall run like mighty men, and they shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march everyone on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. So you know how people be hooked arm to arm, and they make a straight line, and they won't break their ranks. So you got these people side by side by side, and they executing vengeance upon the earth and on the people, and they will not break their rank. Whatever is in front of them, they will destroy. Verse 8, neither shall one thrust another. They ain't gonna be fighting against each other. They shall walk everyone on his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. So this proof that people gonna be fighting back, right? But when they fight back, they ain't gonna be wounded, right? Gonna have them glorified bodies. And they shall run to and fro in the city, and they shall run upon the walls, and they shall climb upon the houses, and they shall enter into the windows like a thief, right? Thief in the night. And the earth shall quake before them, and the heavens shall tremble, and the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army. So Yahweh gonna say, but his army is, you know, Christ and the angels and the saints that's with him, right? And the Lord Yahweh shall utter his voice before his army, for the camp is very great, right? So this camp very great, right? This camp gonna be all the camps put together, right? So this camp is very great, for he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible. Who can abide in it? Therefore, keep scroll up. Therefore, I'm going to think 13. Therefore, also now saith the Lord, turn ye even to me with all your heart, with fasting and weeping and with mourning. And that's how we got to come back to the Most High, y'all. Actually, I got a verse. I got a verse about that, coming back to the Most High. I need Baruch 4 and 28. Baruch 4 and 28. 28. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 28. It says, for as it was your mind to go astray from God. So you know, sin started in your mind. So we went astray from God. We left him, we forsook him, right? So being returned, seek him 10 times more, 10 times harder, right? So when you come back to the Most High, you got to seek him that even that much harder. Go back to Joel 2. I think I was still at 7. No. I was like at 12. Okay, it says, therefore also now saith the Lord, turn ye even to me with all your heart, with fasting, with weeping, and with mourning, right? 10 times more, 10 times harder, right? Verse 13, and rent your heart and not your garments. So before you would be throwing a sackcloth, rent your clothes, you know, afflict your soul, right? But he's saying rent your heart and not your clothes, right? Because he wants a contrite heart. He wants you to be sorry in your spirit and your heart. You dig what I'm saying? Not just on the outside. He wants you to have that heart in the inside of you, right? The contrite spirit. Actually, we read a couple Sabbaths ago where he stopped accepting sacrifices until we got our circumcised heart and a contrite spirit. He accepted that as a sacrifice. In the meantime, we got to get ourselves together, right? Present your bodies as a living sacrifice, right? So boom, verse 13, rent your heart and not your garments, and turn unto the Lord Yahweh, your God, for he is gracious and merciful and slow to anger, and of great kindness, in them, and repenteth them from the evil, right? So verse 14, and knoweth if he would return and repent and leave a blessing behind him, even the meat offering and the drink offering unto the Lord thy God. So it is going into that. So that contrite spirit, that's what he needs. Actually, what verse is that? Let me see if that's in Psalms 51. Hold on. Yeah, Psalms 57, Psalms 51 and 17. So rent your heart and not your garments, right? It says the sacrifice. Okay, let me start up a little bit. The 16. For thou desirest not sacrifices, else I will give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offerings. The sacrifices of God or a broken spirit and a broken and contrite heart. Oh God, that basically the opposite of you being proud, that proud spirit where you don't need the Most High. Thou wilt not despise. Do good in thy good pleasures unto Zion. Build up thy walls of Jerusalem. Then shalt thou be pleased with the sacrifices of righteousness and with burnt offerings and with whole burnt offerings. Then shall the offer bullocks upon the altar. So he don't even accept our actual animal sacrifices, because it's still going to be animal sacrifices in the kingdom, Feast of Tabernacles in the kingdom and all that, right? But he won't even accept our sacrifices if our spirit ain't right, right? So that's why I said rent your heart and not your clothes. Your spirit got to be correct. Be correct. Now go to Revelations chapter 22 and go to the end of it. I'm going to read like the last couple of verses, right? It says, so verse 18, for I testify unto every man that heareth the words of this prophecy of this book, right? Now we know in a law it says you cannot add or take away. Actually, let me get there. You cannot add or take away. I need Deuteronomy 4 and 2. So this Deuteronomy 4 verse 2. Scroll up to verse 1. Let me see if I need to get that meat off that bone. Yeah, let me start at 1. Therefore, hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes of the judgments I will teach you, for you to do them, that you may live, to go in and possess the land where the Lord thy God fathers have given you. Here go the point. Verse 2. And ye shall not add unto the words which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command thee. Right? So you can't add or take away. Now go back to Revelations, the last page of the Bible. So this Revelations 22 and 18, it says, for I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, then God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. So you can't add. Verse 19, and if any man shall take away from the prophecy of this book, book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life. So if you add or take away or trimest the words of God, you will get taken out of the book of life. That's how your candle can get blown out, or your name can get blotted out the book of life, right? It says, if any man take away from the word of this book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book, right? I scroll up. I actually had a point. Okay, I'm just going to read verse 14. Okay, verse 14, and it says, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter into the gates of the city, right? So blessed are they that do his commandments. Last book of the Bible, you still got to do the commandments, right? Actually got to keep the commandments and the faith, right? I'll go to Revelations 14 and 12. So it's blessed are they that do the commandments, right? That they might have wrapped to the tree of life and enter through the straight gates, right? I need Revelation chapter 14, verse 12. And it reads, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Yahweh. So you got to do both, right? Now let's go back to Revelations, I believe that was 22 and 14. Right, so keep the commandments and the faith. So blessed are they that do his commandments, that they might have right to the tree of life and enter through the straight gates into the city, right? For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth to make a lie, right? So if you get your name blotted out or you without, you can't get into them doors, that's what you are, right? Or you might not wouldn't have been an Israelite to begin with, maybe was a tear, right? And that's why I'm gonna end it at. Actually, I just want to talk about, right? I'm gonna want to end by talking about Kanye and Kyrie again, right? Because those brothers again publicly lynched, right? And it's like that's why it's so important for us to stand behind each other. If these brothers, that's why these brothers need to, if they gonna be treated like that in society, they might as well come full-fledged into the truth, right? Instead of being let's just say ambassador, not even an ambassador, just they just speaking on it and acting like it's a hobby, right? But they getting their lives torn up over it, right? But which means that they have they spiritually connected to this, right? Now Kanye, he more of a he ain't really scared, right? He already said they're gonna have to kill him. Now Kyrie already apologized, right? But they still upholding this suspension. They publicly lynching these brothers, right, for coming out in support of the truth and coming out in support of who we are. And there's plenty of people that's waking up because of it. Kyrie, I think, got like 19 million followers. Kanye is one of the most famous black men on earth right now, right? So there's plenty of people that's waking up their eyes, right? And they need some false flag to get us to stop talking about this. So don't be surprised in the next week to come, right? Not this rapper dying, right? Rest in peace to that brother, right? But they trying to do some big finna happen to get us to stop talking about how we Israelites, right? Because you got two of the biggest stories in our community, in a Black Hispanics community, is Kanye saying that we're Israelites and Kyrie saying that we Israelites. And then we started the conversation. Now you got people that probably murmured it under their breath years past. Now they coming out and declaring it openly, right? Which is a beautiful thing, right? But we got all these other brothers that's still under massa, that's scared. You know what I'm saying? And they scared to support them brothers because they want their paychecks, right? They scared that they livelihood and their lifestyle gonna change, right? But everybody lifestyle finna change in this place. You dig what I'm saying? This place finna end. You dig what I'm saying? But I just want to express that. I really feel strongly about that, and them brothers, and all praise to call Allah to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You dig what I'm saying? For he gave us another Sabbath to praise him. He opened them brothers' eyes. You dig what I'm saying? Like the spirit is running wild, just like that wicked spirit is getting all the LGBTQ and all this other crap. You dig what I'm saying? And it's running rapid, and every time you turn your head, you see that. The same spirit about the righteous running around. You dig what I'm saying? And that righteous spirit is going to and fro in this earth. You dig what I'm saying? And you better get some. And with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. That's the name of the Heavenly Father, in the name of through our Savior, who we sent, who we ignorantly call Jesus Christ. I want to say Kahala, right? Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah everybody that listens to this word, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
All praises. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.